No, no, no yawning. No yawning, my friend. We are live.
No yawning and no yanni.
No yawning and no yanni. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. How are you? I hope you are swell. Hope you're svelte. Yeah? Yeah. How's everybody doing tonight? Meow to the zinny zin zin. Dirt. You know what I'm talking about?
Say it, meow, meow, meow to the zinny zin zin.
Nice.
Meow, meow, meow to the zinny zin zin.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a theme song.
That is a theme song.
That could be its own theme song. And you might have just gotten your own theme song.
Yeah, right? You just like sort of double, triple up with the vocals so it seems like a real chorus of dudes going
Right.
meow, meow, meow to the zinny zin zin. It's like Viking. It's like a Viking chant or something like that.
Here.
I love it. That's perfect.
Uh-oh.
Can't hear Justin. Why not?
He's very faint.
Oh, that's why. Now, oops. Thanks for calling that out.
Thank you, Zen.
I had to turn down the volume during my video game stream on Saturday.
Turn
so.
down for what?
Down for what? Hello,
How about now,
Jared.
everybody, can you hear me now? Ah, there.
Hello,
There.
Emilio. Thank you for calling that out, Zinni.
Yeah.
Zinni,
So,
did
as
you?
you were saying, Zinni.
Yeah.
Zinni zin zin to the... Wait, what was it again?
I thought it was like meow, meow, meow. How's it sound now? Sound good?
That's your theme song.
Everyone good now? There you go. We
Yeah.
had a nice little chant going there, which would be like a good marching beat for, some army. But we already lost it, so we just improvised again, and there you go.
That's it.
That sounds like Zenny? Yeah.
That's the best thing about improv is that
Yes.
it's never the same twice.
That's right. It's the first and last time you'll ever see
Oh, that's right.
it.
Meow, meow, meow to the zinny zin zin. 3, 4. Meow, meow, meow.
Meow to the zenny zen zen.
2, 3, 4.
Meow, meow, meow to the zenny zen zen. This is the kind of shit you get to expect with us when you come and join us live before we hit record,
Yeah.
You're all fucking lucky. That's for sure. Use a little Bow Wow song, but make it meows.
Oh, wow, wow, yippee, yo, yippee, yay. Meow, 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 zinny, yo, zinny, yay.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it very much. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Bruce. I will never not hear Bruce and just think, Bruce. I think we started doing that when we were working together, weren't we?
We did, and I don't know where. I don't know what.
I
It's
think
one
it
of
was
those-
something with Batman is my guess.
Probably. That makes sense.
Bruce.
Who knows?
Who knows? All I know is that's
I'm
just...
on my way, bro.
I think it was something like that. That's just... that job wasn't great, but I had a fucking blast working with you, man. Like, the stupid shit we got into, it made the job worth it,
It did. It really did. Like boxes of oatmeal cream pies. And,
oh, my God.
The assignment test kitchen with glazed hot dogs.
Right? Complaints from the neighbors who were providing therapy sessions that the people next door were screaming, and it was us, and we were screaming, and they're like, what's going on? And we felt so bad, as we could only imagine. People were going in for traumatic experiences, and we were like, ah! Just yelling and doing whatever we were doing.
When Evelyn sold that place, it was the inmates were running the asylum at that point. Like that was. Oof.
I'll say, all things considered, I think we handled it pretty well.
The thing is, we made it like the business stayed afloat.
Yeah.
We didn't let the business tank. We let our hair down a little bit.
We were like, no one else is in this office but us.
Right.
So we're going to lose the formal dress wear, the business
Right.
casual. We're going to go full casual. I threw on shorts immediately.
Well, the other thing is, not just there's no one else in the office. Like it was startling to see someone else on the floor.
Right.
The entire floor. Like
Yeah.
you're like, oh shit, you're you're here too.
Yeah. It was.
That's how barren it was. Yeah.
Yeah, it was very. I don't know. It was a fun atmosphere to work because when you, me, and Drew got onto something, god damn it, was that funny. It was
amazing.
We found a great way of like shifting back and forth between doing our jobs and being serious, and then immediately shifting back to fucking off, and it was great. Like you said, we kept the business afloat. We did our jobs.
It did not go under, at least on our watch.
No, not on our watch. Yeah. And
Jared wants to know, what is a consignment desk? Well, a consignment desk is nothing, but if I had to guess, it's a desk where you bring your wares, I sell them, and then I pay you a percentage of what the sale was.
Yes.
That's what a consignment desk would be.
Yes.
It seems very inefficient.
Yes. Practical Doug does not agree.
Nope.
No.
Nope.
No. Doug.
Doug.
Get another callback.
Oh, man. Should we just make this all inside jokes the rest of the episode?
Right. We should just do that. We should do that. We should also start recording. Here we go.
We should record, Eileen.
3, 2, 1. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Mind Gap Podcast. I'm Doug.
I'm Justin.
And we are thrilled that you are with us on this day. God bless you. And,
thanks for listening.
And also with you, Oh, so good. So good. We were having a pre-roll discussion. And Jared was just saying, asking what our job, where Justin and I met. We worked at a company called Consignment Desk, where we were production coordinators, where people would call and be like, hey, I need a photographer, or I need a camera guy and an audio guy to record this thing. And we would have a database of folks we'd reach out to, and we'd basically set it up and take a commission from it. And it was a very small operation, but God damn it, we made the most of it. We had fun while we were doing it. It was silly.
It's what brought you Todd Hammer.
Exactly.
If Assignment Desk never existed and we never worked there, Todd Hammer would not be out in the ether.
And even more importantly, Mind Gap wouldn't exist without it.
You know what? That's probably where I should have gone first. Yeah. That's very true.
It's very, very true. Because that's where it started.
That was the seed, the genesis.
It was inseminated at Assignment Desk.
One day, Doug and Justin
loved each other.
They loved each other, and after the loving was done, we said, Mind Gap is born. That's it.
Cut it. Print it. That's our story.
That's our story. Sticking to our Wikipedia page should say exactly that.
I think I just found a clip for the week. Yeah, gonna write that down.
We found our.
That's the story.
Oh, too.
That's the story of Mind Gap Podcast. Where two dudes just fell in love at once. I don't know why I'm singing like this. Who knows? Who gives a shit?
Who knows why we do anything, Doug?
Who knows? Who knows, Bruce? Who knows? Hey gang, you should like us and follow us on all of our social medias at Mind Gap Podcast. Check us out on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Mind Gap Podcast, where we stream live Tuesdays 8 p.m. Central, Saturdays 8 p.m. Central. Saturdays is the video game stream. Always fun, always a good time. You can be like one of these cool people like Zinni, Emilio, Jared, Wolfslore, Slotty Bartfast. Why I say Wolfslore like I was drunk? I was like Wolfslore. There's that Italian accent again. You know it. You could comment right there, just like Slotty did in real time. Come hang out with us. And while you're here, if you like what we do, hit like, hit subscribe. It's awesome. Hit subscribe wherever you're listening to this. If you're listening to the audio podcast, that's great. Check out our merch at redbubble.com. If you really want to support us and throw some money our way, head over to patreon.com/mindgappodcast. We've got 2 tiers, a $1 tier and a $5 tier. Anything you'd like to throw our way monetarily wise, we would appreciate it. And if you do that, you get to be like one of these cool people that support us, like Tom McIntyre, like Richie Armour, like Zenny, like Slutty Bartfast, like Almighty Crit. You could be among the ranks, among the Hall of Legends, the Halls of Legends.
Did you
the Hall of Legends? I had chocolate cake tonight.
There it is. All right.
I had Wolf Slur.
Wolf Slur.
Wolf slur. Erskine Wolf slur. You know, Swedish chef.
Wolf slur.
Erskine Wolf slur. You know, that's how it goes. Anyway, your support is most appreciated, and we love you. And come be a part of our world, or else we'll become a part of yours, whether you like it or not.
That's
so
right.
those are the demands.
And if you're still listening at this point, you have no reason to not subscribe.
Absolutely.
If you've made it this far, you owe it to yourself.
For the record, speaking of people that subscribe, I want to shout out Italian Man 69. That guy showed up on Saturday night during my Final Fantasy VI stream. All right, this was such a cool thing that happened. I'm playing Final Fantasy VI. This is a game I haven't played in probably over 15 years, probably maybe even closer to 20 years. And I'm playing it, and I'm in this town, and I knew there's something I have to do, and I couldn't fucking remember exactly how to do it. And randomly, this guy, Italian Man 69, pops in the chat and was like, "Hey, man, I'm playing this game right now, too. I'm also stuck in this very same spot. I just happened to see your channel, and I thought I'd hop in here." And he and I were trying to figure it out together, and he was a really funny guy. And
that's awesome.
He and I figured it out, and it was great. He hung around for a while, and then he's like, "Hey, man, I'm going to subscribe. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for hanging out. You're awesome. I appreciate you."
That's very cool.
It was really fun. And thanks to everyone who came in. And my brother Dave, thanks for stopping by as well. It was a really good time. So it was actually really relaxing. Usually do a lot of party games. It was kind of nice just to be like, I'm doing chill. Yeah. I'm going to do this solo role-playing game. And it was such a nice nostalgia to go back and play this game again. And also terrifying because I'm like, I don't fucking remember where everything is. But it's kind of fun to fumble around and figure it out. So it was really cool. So yeah, thank you to the folks that subscribe. It means a lot to us. So grazie.
There it is. Yet again, the Italian accent.
Grazie. Yeah. Justin, how's your weekend, man?
We had a great weekend, Doug.
Yeah?
We had an incredible weekend. We got to see, we went and saw a movie on Friday. I'll talk more about that in the recommendations section.
Yes.
And then, oh boy, what did we do? Saturday, I found this awesome trail, a new trail not too far from our apartment, and I hiked it twice that day. I hiked it in the morning, and then when Beth got off of work, I was like, I got to take it back to this trail, and we hiked it again, and it was awesome. Then we had some of the worst Mexican food we've ever had. Not going to go back to that place.
Real quick.
Yeah.
How do you mess up Mexican food?
Good question, Doug. Good question. In fact, I'll let you taste it when you come up here.
Boy, that's...
Yeah, you want to taste it?
You know, you're selling it. You're like, this is terrible. But guess what? When you come up here, you're going to have it too. I'm like, oh, great. Thank you.
The entree I got was, I cannot remember what the name of it was, but it was...
Burrito.
That was edible. It was good. It was, yeah. Oh, was it a burrito? It was something really...
Or was it the empanada?
It was a plate of, beef chicken and like flank steak chicken and shrimp with rice, whole onions. I know. Green peppers.
We'll go ahead and just end the recording here. He said the word. We're out.
And that was good. That was edible. But the guacamole was this bowl of, I'm assuming, avocado. It was a green mush that was flavorless. And the margaritas we got, I mean, I don't know if they were left over from last year's Cinco de Mayo or what, but this was quintessential college spring break. Like, they don't care what they put in them. I think maybe there was orange juice in one. I don't know. It was just, it tasted like chemicals and Jose Cuervo. It was really bad. So that was a wonderful evening. But the hike was great. And then Sunday we went horseback riding. Got Beth for her birthday a hour and a half horseback ride, and it was, dude, I've never had one like this before. We went all through the acreage of this stable, and in the woods and stuff where we're going, we must have passed like 30 deer, and they were the most chill deer, like 15 feet away from us, and they just watched us pass by, like, huh, cool, what's up?
They're like, stay on the trail and nothing bad's gonna happen. All right.
I like to think that they were taunting the horses, being like, "No, you got people riding you. We're free.
Yeah,
Look at you." cousins.
And they're like, also, stay on the trail.
Stay on the trail.
And nobody gets hurt. Right? And they're just sitting there just being real casual about it. They're
That's
like,
it.
you think you're observing us, but we're fucking watching you, you piece of shit.
You may not be able to do accents, but that deer impression was spot fucking on.
There you go.
That's scary. That's
and
good.
if you don't know what that looks like, you should check us out on youtube.com/MindGapPodcast when we stream.
Yeah.
I love how Slotty said, you can very easily mess up Mexican food, which, I don't know, it seems like it'd be hard to do, but then again, who knows? White people mess up a lot of food all the time. And then he says, I'm willing to bet money it was the kind of place that made you pay for salsa.
You know what? You're not wrong.
You're not wrong.
Yeah, no, it was good. We had a really, really fun weekend, man. It was a good time. Just it was very full. It was the first really full weekend we've had in a while, and it felt good. So
nice.
Yeah. What'd you do?
It was a pretty busy weekend. Friday nights just become this family movie night, and I have pressure now. On top of everything else that I do is every week it's like, what are we going to watch for the movie? You know? Deer chewing ASMR is a YouTube category now. You're welcome, gang. We're going to start it right here as a sub channel. Also, Wolf's is saying he's Team Onion. He said, please, if you're listening to the pod, please join the Discord and tell Doug why onions are great and flavorful. An excellent accent to a dish. Listen, the flavor of onions is absolutely acceptable. The texture of onions is not okay with me.
Doug's down for onion powder all day.
100%. Absolutely. And I'll even do this. I'll extend another onion branch, which is thinly sliced fried crispy onions, like on a French dip sandwich.
Oh, yeah, like onion strings.
Like onion tanglers, but nothing too, like onion strings, very thin stuff. None of the onion rings, like thick stuff like that. I'm not for that. But you get some onion strings in there. I'm okay with that.
Now, we've gone.
It's mostly batter. I understand that, but still.
Right. As long as the batter to onion ratio is in favor.
Heavily skewed towards the batter side, yes.
Now, we've gone down this path before, but if, let's say I was cooking you a dish and I had put onions in it, but the onions were not even chopped, they were diced, like super small, and they were cooked down, so they were like that translucent. So you really didn't have, like, you weren't biting into a strip of onion.
I could probably deal with that. That's what I've been doing with peppers lately.
Okay. Do you not like peppers?
Again, it's the texture of it. Don't mind the flavor of it. I just don't like. It's so weird. Like the crunch of it, for whatever reason, is really for most vegetables and stuff like that. It's off-putting to me. Like, and I just.
Do you feel the same way with a carrot?
Yeah, same thing. I would prefer carrots to be cooked down and softened a little bit. You know, especially a roasted carrot because it gets a little sweeter, which is really nice. I definitely don't mind a carrot in a soup because usually it gets really soft. Same thing with celery. Don't mind celery in a soup because of its soft nature. But yeah, you know what?
You'll eat a pickle.
Yes, I love me some pickles. It does, but that's also something that I eat by itself.
Right.
You know, I actually prefer a pickle on its own. I don't like a pickle as part of an ensemble. So,
learning so much about you.
I'm learning so much about myself too. Like, I'm excited because tomorrow night I'm going to try a new dish that's going to be sausages, like beef sausages, both red and green bell peppers and potatoes.
Yes,
so
sir.
I also made jambalaya tonight. I left out the onions because fuck those onions, but I made sure I got in the red peppers and everything like that. It was great. It was delicious. But I'm warming up to the idea because the same thing with that. I chop it up real fine, the red bell pepper, and then I cook it. And I cook it in with a chorizo, and it adds really nice flavor in the same thing with spinach. I'll cut up spinach, just chop it to shit, throw it in there, heat it up, and you still get the spinach without really having to taste it, which is really important to me. So
I want to get it. I don't want to taste it.
Yeah, I don't want to have to be like, here, eat this bowl of spinach. It's like, fuck that. Like,
Slotty goes, Doug has the food texture sensibility of a man with dentures.
Yes, it's true.
Yep,
yes,
absolutely. There we go. So anyway, Doug.
This weekend, I was under the pressure of trying to find a new movie, and I saw Who Framed Roger Rabbit for $5. I was like, let's watch this. And Natalie watched it, but I was like, this is a weird fucking movie. Like, I was like, I remember being in first and second grade and loving that movie. I would argue that's not really a movie for kids.
No, I was gonna say like it's got. Doesn't Christopher Lloyd's face melt off with acid or something?
Well, there's the dip where he takes a tune and dips it into a barrel
that's what
of
it is.
dip and murders it, and his hand comes out red. It's just because the shoe was red. But Natalie goes, "Was that blood?" I go, "No, it's just the color of the shoe." There's an
sexual with Jessica Rabbit.
100%. It's high. There's definitely a moment where it's insinuated that she's having sex with a guy, but they're just playing patty cake. But as they're playing patty cake, she's moaning. There's a part where. A weasel reaches down her dress to frisk her, and a bear trap is on his head. It's like, and the guy goes, "Nice booby trap." Like, there's a lot of. Not only that,
funny.
It's very funny. There's a complicated noir storyline, with this that Natalie 100% could not follow, but very much enjoyed the cartoon aspects of everything. And you also look at that for the time it was made, pretty impressive production. Just for what it was. But I'm just like. I'll buy it for $5. I'm like, this is kind of heavy. And not only that, all of the cartoon references, most of them Natalie doesn't get. She doesn't know who Betty Boop is. Okay. She doesn't even know who Bugs Bunny is. She doesn't know who Daffy Duck is. Porky Pig. She saw Mickey and Donald. She knew those, but
any of the Daffy and even the Looney Tunes. I feel like Looney Tunes are. Well, no, Natalie is. I've been dealing so much with Drew and Rob lately that all kids in my mind are two now. But Natalie's of the age where I feel like Looney Tunes and Hanna-Barbera are a little, well, maybe not even Hanna-Barbera, Looney Tunes for sure, are of an older, you got to be a little bit older, I feel like, to appreciate, like, I don't know, the Barber of Seville, like when Bugs did that, like, that's, sure, you can watch it for what it's worth, just a fun cartoon, but there's a little bit of like heft to the cartoon. So I feel like Natalie's about the age now where she could probably start digging on some of those Looney Tunes style cartoons.
Yeah, I'd rather watch Bluey with her. So, which by the way, that's what she's exclusively been watching.
There it is.
For the last 2 weeks, man. She is 100% just she's like, "Dad, can we watch Bluey?" I'm like, "Let's watch some Bluey." And I just find myself being endlessly entertained by it as well. So, yeah.
The bongo.
Yeah.
So was Who Framed Roger Rabbit, was that a movie that you had not seen it since childhood?
Boy, I don't remember the last time I had seen it. It was a long time ago.
That's truly one where you're just like, you were operating purely on nostalgia. Like, this is going to be fun.
Yeah, I was like, I love this. I remember in second grade, like reenacting parts of the scene for like a class, and I had like a little book, and I'm like, that's basically 1 year older than Natalie is right now, and I thought that movie was amazing. And I'm like, okay, was this another case of like Gremlins and Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom and Goonies, where you're like, there's no PG-13, so I guess this is PG because it's not R sort of situation, or
you remember
what's that?
You remember what year it came out?
Well, if I was in second grade, it probably would have been like 1990-ish.
88.
88? Oh, 88. Okay, how about that? Yeah.
88. Wow.
Yeah.
What is the... Hold on. Yeah, if you just look up Who Framed Roger Rabbit and look up some of the images.
Yeah.
It's
pretty bonkers.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it's very interesting. But we did that. I cooked a lot this weekend because it was Mother's Day and Jill's birthday. So...
that's right.
She had requested a chocolate cake, which I had made for Natalie's birthday. So I made that again, and God damn it, it's good. It's too good. And I gave about a third of it to our neighbors because I was like, get this out of my house. I don't want this.
How big was this cake?
What's that?
How big was this cake?
I was 9 inches, so one Justin in diameter. It was like three layers. Just super chocolate. It's like so, and not only that. I mean, it's such a great. It's a unique recipe that involves a stout as part of the liquid ingredients.
Oh, that's why you're drunk today,
huh?
Now it all makes sense.
What? It was phenomenal, and we enjoyed that. I also made her. I smoked some ribeyes, which was great. So we hadn't done that in a little while. Spent some time outside, which was great. Had a really just nice, very full weekend. It was really, really great. So I've It was great, man. And I'm loving the weather right now. We're finally summer. We went from kind of early spring to just full throttle summer. That's how we work around here. It was hot as balls today, but I didn't mind. I was like, whatever. I'm doing this. I'm happy.
Gotta love
it's
the
warm.
Midwest. That's how we roll.
We flip on a light switch, and it's one season to the next. So there we are. So
and then we're gonna be hitting low 60s again in another week, and then back into the 8. So
yeah. But you know what? As long as we're at minimum 60s, I'm cool. Like that's fine with me. Like
I
don't give a shit. I got to walk my dog today with just short sleeve shirt and shorts. And that was a joy for me. So that's why I'm very happy right now. So super excited to be doing stuff, and I'm hoping this weekend also. I'm looking to do some fun stuff this weekend as well. So we'll see if it works out. But
who's that?
TBD. All right, let's get into the meat and potatoes and scrotum of this week's episode. Let's get into it. All right.
Yes.
I had mentioned this in the recommendations of last week's episode of Dudesy, the podcast featuring Will Sasso and his friend Chad, whose last name I hear him say, but I can't remember how it's pronounced. But the conceit of the show...
It's Chad Racanthamum.
That is absolutely right. Which is, by the way, also my favorite element on the periodic table.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Right after magnesium.
It's got a weight of 28?
28 stone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
4 ions?
Did you say whore ions?
4. Excuse me, 4.
It's known for its whore ions.
The ions are just they will attach themselves to anything.
That's right. For the right price, they'll do anything.
Yep.
Which is why they're so great. They bond with everything for the right price.
Element.
Yeah, you get a lot out of it. So the conceit of the show is that they being Will Sasso and Chad Chrysanthemum, have surrendered their logins to their email, their text messages, their search histories, their purchase histories, the social medias, everything to this AI named Dudesy. And Dudesy has also allegedly consumed all of the podcasts ever created on this planet. And based on all that information, it crunches the numbers, it does data sets, and it finds each week a way to improve on itself and be like, what's really popular? Great. I'm going to take this topic, but then I'm also going to infuse in different elements from Will and Chad to then make something special happen with it. For example, by Will Sasso.
For example.
Here's
an example for you to listen to.
Yet another character Natalie would not understand. But it says Will Sasso, it's generated by the AI, these like news stories and all everything for him to read, but he's supposed to read it in Hulk Hogan's voice.
Right.
So he reads news tidbits, which are also kind of crazily written by this AI as Hulk Hogan, and to me it's endlessly entertaining.
Yeah. I mean, that first episode, it was nonstop run-on sentence. Like it was a nonsensical run-on sentence of quote-unquote news.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's accurate, sometimes it's not.
Right.
But it's actually very humorously written as well, like some of the things it comes up with. And it comes up with some pretty wild things as well.
Yeah.
One of my favorite moments was it asked Will Sasso to, it's like, potential sponsors, here's some reads for some potential brands, and it was like something like Old Navy, but he had to read the ad for Old Navy as Jesse Ventura, who is a known conspiracy theorist, and all of the ad reads were written like conspiracies. And it was one of the funniest fucking things I've ever heard, as he's talking about Old Navy and then talking about lizard people and how, are you prepared for when the lizard people take over the world, Yeah. And the other one is when he created a childhood diary, which Will Sasso goes, I don't have. I never had a childhood diary. But supposedly, based on his text messages with his childhood friends, Dudesy has created this diary, and he's reading it in the voice of Stone Cold Steve Austin. And it goes to a point where he starts, it literally wrote a poem about The Undertaker. and I had to stop lifting weights because I was laughing so hard I couldn't focus, and I couldn't, capture my breathing, and I lost my concentration. I had to stop lifting because I was laughing so fucking hard.
That is the best. When I was training for the marathon, I had a few times. I listened to a ton of podcasts, and I had a few times with How Did This Get Made where I physically couldn't run anymore. I was doubled over. I had to stop. My knees were weak. Yeah. That is the absolute best feeling in the world.
It's great. It's also frustrating because you're like, I've got 4 more reps, but I can't focus enough to do this. I have to stop, and God damn it, like my arms are weak, and I can't. I'm too busy laughing that I can't pull this off.
Yeah.
But so for starters, I highly recommend the podcast. It's brand new. It started in early March.
Yeah.
And it's very entertaining, and each week it gets more and more interesting. Particularly because Will Sasso is really salty about Dudesy and AI in general. So he's kind of combative about it all the time because Dudesy will just interrupt and be like, okay, thanks, moving on. He's like, great, I guess we're done talking now because Dudesy doesn't want us to talk.
Right.
And he gets very combative.
That podcasts are just for 2 people to shit around.
Yeah,
and
it's 2 dudes shitting around. That's what he always says.
Around. Yeah, and then he'd much rather have that be. He'd rather be in control rather than give up control to this AI.
Yeah, he doesn't believe in a lot of structure, especially from something like an AI that is crunching the numbers and being like, okay, now be funny or now be creative. He hates that. Yeah. And in defiance of that, he's created certain characters, like Long Island January 6th guy is a character he's made. It
was the first episode, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that character lives on. And he talked about it so much that Dudesy started incorporating segments with that character in it. And he's like, now we're talking, Dudesy. But what I love about the show, too, is that Chad is very much I don't know, futurist is the right word, but he's fascinated by things like AI, things like, what's possible with episodes of like Black Mirror and technology. So he's very fascinated by that, and Will is I would say he's anti it, but he just doesn't, he doesn't follow the same set of ideologies as Chad does. So they debate a lot, and it reminds me a lot of you and I.
I could absolutely see that. I mean, we've had AI debates before.
Mm-hmm.
We've had debates very much about this topic and uploading your consciousness and what makes a person, and when does a person cease to be that, and et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
It's very, very in the realm of, it's very in our wheelhouse.
Very much so. Which also as I listen to this, a part of me is like, I wish we had an AI that would help us every week, because the segments it comes up with, I'm like, this would be a lot of fun if it's like, all right, well, we know Doug hates stuff. So here's a segment where Doug has to describe, or whatever. It just incorporates something. It's like, we know Doug hates onions. We know, all this sort of stuff. It'd be nice to have something that sort of calculates this thing. It's like, all right, Justin, we want you to talk about the all of the beautiful things and hiking trails that you've seen in Grand Rapids as Gilbert Gottfried. God rest his soul.
Right. Yeah.
And I'm going to read to you this passage from a fake Yelp page, and you have to basically read it as Gilbert Gottfried complaining about the trail you went on. Just
right. Yeah.
Something like that would be amazing.
I would. Yeah. Look, I'm not going to say that wouldn't be amazing. As we've discussed off mic, I have my reservations about the legitimacy of the conceit of this podcast.
Yes.
While AI does exist, and I do believe that there is AI has written movie scripts and books, and AI has conversation. We did a episode a while ago about a guy who used AI to quote unquote resurrect his girlfriend and have a second relationship with her, and then ended up having to say goodbye and grieve her a second time. And actually, no, he didn't, because he presumably still has time left on this AI. He just hasn't gone back to it. But yeah, so that is out there, and there is technology that is almost beyond comprehension. That being said, the way that this thing interrupts them, and the way here's how I think that the show is being run. I think that they are using an AI I think they have fed an AI a ton of information. I don't think they've opened up their emails and text messages and given them passwords. I do not think in any conceivable universe a celebrity would agree to that. I just do not think, especially knowing that, like, what's stopping this AI from changing their passwords and then starting to send things out on its own? That doesn't make any sense to me. But I do think that they've fed a metric fuck ton of data into some sort of an AI, and it is spitting out suggestions. And then I think the producer is handpicking and running the show. I don't think the AI is running the show. That's how I think this is going, because otherwise it doesn't make sense to me.
Why doesn't it make sense to you?
I just told you why.
No, like, does it scare you if that were true?
No, it doesn't scare me. I don't see it as plausible. I don't think that they've got an AI. First off, there's no way they have access to an AI for some stupid little pod. And I'm not calling their podcast stupid, but for podcast, for a random podcast with two comedians, not even world-leading scientists. It's just two comedians. Mm-hmm. And they've got access to this AI that has consumed every podcast that has ever been put out there. Bullshit, first off. No.
Why no? Why not? Why is that so unbelievable, Justin?
The sheer scope of it is just absurd. It's absolutely absurd. If that's true, I will say I very much hope that Mind Gap gets brought up on their podcast.
Well, that's what Jared said. He goes, so if that's true, does that mean it's listened to Mind Gap? It has.
Jared and I are right there. Well, it has based off of what they're telling you. But,
yes.
I think that is an absurd. The scope of that is ridiculous. And then the way that it interrupts them, it is comedically too perfectly timed to interrupt them. That is a crack producer sitting behind the control board and running the show with them.
It's plausible, Justin. It's plausible what you're saying, but it's also not impossible that what's happening is true.
Lottie says Justin is a dudesy truther.
Yes, he is. I didn't even consider this until Justin brought up. He's like, that's bullshit. I'm like, have we switched roles where you're calling, that's usually how I am,
Based off of the Batman episode that we did, and then this, I'm like, yeah, Doug and I think we had a Freaky Friday go on.
Yeah, we switched stuff on this. Now, listen, is it more fun? Even if it's false, is it more fun to believe this? 100%. Like, it's way more fun to believe that this is true. But the thing is, too, is like,
the conceit of it is very, very entertaining.
Yes.
There's no argument from me there.
Yeah. Because what I will say is that it does, if they are, faking this, I think they're doing a tremendous job.
Agreed.
They're doing a fantastic job because they seem genuinely surprised by what comes out the other end of this. Like, when it's like because it gives them assignments at the end of each episode. And one of them was they had to come up with their own original song and present it so that, they would then put it out on social media and the users would vote on it, and whoever lost would get shamed. And Will Sasso just didn't do it. And, it was one of those things where when they said that, like, they were just like, we got to do what? And it was just, I don't know. There's that. There's also when they it's the stuff that it suggests to them, plus just the segments it puts together. They just seem genuinely surprised, which again, it could definitely hold up with your thought that a producer is doing this stuff, right? But the amount of content
could be harnessing AI to do that. Like, the producer I don't necessarily know that the producer and them are sitting in a writer's room and hashing this out. They may be feeding this data, getting it, and then the producer's like, all right, so based off of this nonsense, here's how we're lining this show up.
Yeah.
That's my working theory.
No, I think that's very fair. I think that's very plausible in that way, that it could be a mix of both worlds, right, where this stuff is happening. But I'm also just like, I don't think it's impossible to say that this machine has consumed all podcasts, because You just basically, I don't know how it works. I don't know how any of that stuff works, but I imagine if you're like, hey, you have this machine subscribed to Apple Podcasts and click start, all it's doing all the time is just...
And paywalls on Earwolf, or ones that have been...
Sure, okay.
You know what I mean? I'm saying, like, or
so
ones that
maybe those it hasn't gotten to. So absolutely, we can make a concession there, saying like, okay, if there's something that's behind a paywall or Patreon, it doesn't get access to it. But I'd say
Can I ask as well?
Mm-hmm.
And I'll be shocked if you have an answer, because neither of us are computer scientists. But
it's true. This just in.
From henceforth, this is all conjecture. If it's listening to all podcasts created, is it listening to them? Like I'm thinking of it in terms of a person. So what are the numbers?
Well, that's your first problem, Justin, because the AI, dudesy, it's not a person. All right.
Not a person.
So you need to reframe the way you think about this. Start over.
How is it consuming? What is the time commitment needed for an AI to consume? Let's call it presumably billions of episodes of podcasts.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what is the time commitment needed? Can it, an hour and a half episode of ours, can it listen to that in a second? Does it need 5 minutes? That's the other thing that I'm like, how long have they been prepping for this show?
That's a great question. I mean, you've seen stuff where people have like, I've forced an AI to watch 1,000 hours of sitcoms, and now it's created its own sitcom based on this sort of stuff. So I don't know what the time commitment is to that. I don't know if it's. I don't imagine it has to be like in real time,
right?
Sped up. Is it consuming transcripts to get that sort of stuff as well? Is it both? To kind of understand, because it seems like it has a good idea of what's trendy. You know, which is why it comes up with some of these segments. It's like the idea of bro culture and trolls is really important. Will and Chad come up with an idea for a show called Troll Bros. Like,
Troll Bros. Yeah.
You know, or it's like, you know, crime podcasts are really big right now. So we're going to do a segment that's based around this kind of idea. And it's true, right? It seems to have a good idea of what's popular, the idea of engagement, and getting people to engage with the podcast. So I think it's entirely feasible that this thing has consumed a large amount of podcasts. I don't think it's implausible that these guys have surrendered over some of their content. I know, according to Will Sasso, who is also, again, this definitely needs to be stated, he's a huge fan of pro wrestling, which is known for, even though you know it's fake, they hold up the conceit that it's real within, what is it called, the kayfabe, you know?
Yes.
You know, the idea, the conceit that, like, we all know this is fake, but we're going to pretend that it's real. He's, you know, gone on other podcasts and talked about it, but, you know, the idea of, I forgot what I was going to say. I lost my train of thought just trying to define what kayfabe was. But, yeah, I don't know what I was trying to say. I had a point in there, and I just lost it. God damn it!
You don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that he has surrendered his
yes, that he hasn't, that he's surrendered that because he had mentioned Will Sasso talked about how they went through a lot of contracts for this, and I think part of it was that if they are consuming content of Dudesy on their devices, Dudesy has the right to then record them. Because there was a video that started playing of Will Sasso watching an episode of Dudesy on his phone, and it played it. And it was just him watching while his dog was licking his head in his bedroom. Now, could he have recorded that himself? 100%, right? There's a lot of plausibility things here that are totally possible.
How into this you are,
right? Because
it's just so unique for you to buy into something like this.
I love the conceit.
And I don't say buy in as in completely fake.
Because I'm an idiot. That's what you're saying. Yes.
Yeah. Thank you for taking us there. Because
I love the idea of it.
I was dancing around.
The idea of it is phenomenal, right? It was like when I first saw the trailer for Blair Witch Project. I'm like, this is real. It's like, it's not. You want it to be, but it's not real. It's fake. But I think I'm also fascinated by. I don't know if I'd call this a useful way to use AI, But I'm always, because I know so little about AI, I'm always fascinated when
It's
someone,
a non-scary way of using it.
yeah, which honestly, those are the things about AI that I find most interesting, which is how can you use it to be creative, and also how can you use it to take the really boring, annoying shit that we do every day and get rid of it. Because Chad talks about this regularly, where things like some of the most annoying things people do as like lawyers and doctors, like lawyers, it's like doing contract writing and going, it's like he contests that will be replaced by AI in the future. Like AI, he goes, contract negotiations will happen between AIs in the future. They will just go back and forth. They will write the contracts. They'll go back and forth, and they'll just be able to do that so that, spending years and years and hundreds of thousands of dollars going to law school, a significant portion of that will be replaced by AI that will consume that and do that. Maybe some medical stuff as well, some of the tedious things that people don't like to do.
Yeah.
AI can handle it. I think there's an argument to be made that a lot of advertisements, maybe even news articles, are written by AI these days, which is kind of scary when you think about it. But I'm fascinated by it because I'm always on the side of efficiency, because Practical Doug rules the roost with that. And if you can find something that takes the annoying and boring shit out of our lives and simplifies it in a way that's way more efficient, I'm typically for it. I've never been on the receiving end of that, meaning that my job has been eliminated because of technology. But, I've also seen, I do voiceover work for videos and stuff. There's really good websites out there that will do a fantastic AI-generated voiceover that doesn't actually sound like a robot. I've also saw one recently that has a AI-generated person that will be doing a talking head and speaking to you, like based on the script that you put in there, which is also terrifying. But AI does, there's an AI project that they mentioned in the show where you type in like a couple of words, like say cat, beach, unicorn, and it will generate an image based on those keywords that you put there. It's an image that's never been created before. It's completely original.
I actually saw someone on Instagram demoing it.
Yeah.
And it was bonkers. It was absolutely bonkers. Yeah.
And it's not perfect, because based on how they were doing it, they were testing it on the show. There's specific details, like if you focus on it, you'd be like, oh, that's a little bit off, but it knows enough to be like where your eyes are going to be focused the most is where it gives the most detail. There's also AI that will generate a face of somebody that doesn't exist. It will just do that. They talk about how Bruce Willis licensed his image to be used in a commercial in Russia for cell phones. And they basically just took his likeness, did a James Dean on another actor, and he's getting paid for it, for the license of it, but that stuff it's totally happening. So in context of all that stuff that's going on in the world, is it far-fetched for me to believe that there's an AI that's helping produce this show? No. I'm like, yeah, it's very possible.
I agree that it is possible that it's helping to produce the show, in that it is helping to generate ideas. I think where I get hung up is when the AI chimes in, it's just too. I don't know. There's something. Maybe it's an uncanny valley thing for me. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's too human in my mind. Like I have a hard time not believing that specific thing is being kicked off by a person.
And that's the thing is, I think it's very possible that you're right in that an AI is being used, but it's also being managed by a person to execute commands more effectively, Like
the AI isn't just running the studio, in that it's like unlocking the doors and it's turning on the coffee maker, and the whole building is just one giant dudesy AI. Yeah.
No, I agree with you. That's probably happening, but at the same time, I think it's so cool, the idea that there's a piece of technology there that helps generate content. Because how fun of it is it to read the insane ramblings of an AI? Like that is, again,
especially when it goes slightly off the rails.
Yeah. where it's, again, I cannot stress this enough. When you listen to the childhood diaries of Will Sasso as read by Stone Cold Steve Austin, he loses his shit reading it, because it'll just start making up names of kids that aren't real, that he never hung out with, that are also sound insane.
Oh, I need to listen to that episode.
And he commits as this, but sometimes he breaks. He's like, oh my God, this is crazy that we're doing this right now.
Look, am I going to say that I wouldn't use something like this? No, I won't say that. Of course I would. It would be amazing. And I like Slotty in the chat says, he goes, it sounds like Dudesy is the podcast producer I was trying to be. Hey guys, this week diarrhea smoothies are trending. You should do a show about that. Doug, no, Slotty, we don't do diarrhea smoothies. Which we will or will not confirm that was a conversation that happened on Google Hangouts.
Yeah. I love the idea of, because that was Will Sasso's biggest problem, is like, Dudesy's telling us to do this thing, and that's not organic. And in rebelling, he created Long Island January 6th guy.
Right.
To which Will goes, we wouldn't have had this. Like, if we had followed what Dudesy said, we wouldn't get this. And Chad goes, no, because the AI told you to do this, and you rebelled. You made Long Island January 6th guy because Dudesy is here. Like, they have these ongoing debates of this sort of stuff, and Will's like, bullshit. And he's like, no, Dudesy helped you create that. And in doing so, this character he created has become infused in. So it's the idea of like, who's creating who here. Right. And the scary part is that they're both creating together. They're collaborating in that regard, which is amazing.
Maybe we should in that vein, maybe we should not poo-poo, no pun intended, Slotty's. I think you need to be our AI producer.
There we go.
And we just need to lean into, or we could have just, again, not done diarrhea smoothies, but had that make its own thing, right?
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Make it happen.
Slotty, upload your consciousness. Let's do this.
Rachel Crustacean is one of my favorite children from Sasso's fake childhood. Yeah, those are the type of names that come up. It's fucking insane. It's absolutely insane.
Well, here's the thing. I got on Thursday is the day where I get to listen to a podcast while I work out. So that will be, I will throw that on, and I will, which episode, do I need to listen to these in order?
I think you should.
I should.
It's kind of fun how it builds up, because at one point Will sort of accepts Dudesy, and it's kind of fun how he kind of comes to that point. But leading up to it, he's so just like, fuck you, Dudesy. He gets so mad, and it makes me so happy to hear him get so frustrated.
What episode is the childhood stories in?
I'll have to look up and let you know.
Okay.
I think the Jesse Ventura read, I think, is in episode 2 where he does that. It's 2 or 3. Absolutely listen to that. If anything, I'll provide you some clips that you can watch so you can see it. It's so good. It was the best of times. It was the worst of times for Rachel Crustacean. It's very entertaining. And supposedly, in not this most recent episode, the episode before, they got an email from Dudesy midweek saying they need to secure some marijuana because they were going to have to smoke weed during the episode. And they were like, all right, Dudesy,
making them do this?
Dudesy said we have to smoke weed, so we have to finish this joint. And Chad apparently got it, and he gives it to Will. And Will's like, what kind of weed is this? And Chad's like, I don't know. He goes, because one of these weeds is going to amp me up. And he goes, we're going to find out real quick which one you got me. And you start getting amped up. He goes, well, we know which kinds you got me. But yeah, I highly recommend the show. It's very fun. It's very entertaining. And I guess a part of me too wishes we had something like that would help generate some shit for us to contact about, because
absolutely
we have fun. It is, if you've ever done a podcast like ours that is wide open on topics, it's difficult sometimes to find things to talk about because A, we want to find something that we want to talk about. B, ideally it's fun. There's a lot of really just hotly
heavy topics out there.
Heavy topics, hotly that was just like, nah, we don't want to cover that. So it's sometimes there's some weeks where we're just busting at the seams, and there's other weeks where it's slim pickings.
Right, so, which is counterintuitive if you think, like, I understand that people listening to this are going to go, what do you mean? You've got a podcast about anything and everything. What do you mean you don't have things to talk about? And let me tell you, after 345 episodes, it does start to get a little bit more difficult. With when you have a hyper specific podcast, you know where you're going. You're going hyper specific on a sliver of one thing, and you can just go to that well over and over and over again. It's shockingly hard to come up with. Not only is it interesting for us, interesting for you, but stuff that a broader audience might like, that might bring up new fans in. Like, there's a lot of moving pieces that you got to consider, and it gets laborious.
And also a topic that has some meat on its bones.
Right.
That we can really dig into
yeah.
and have fun. And does that lead us on another tangent? I hope so. We'll pull on that thread because that's what we like to do. So it gets tough. It gets tough sometimes. Yeah. And thankfully people like Slotty and Wolf and Noah and those producers, on our show have helped us a lot with finding stuff to do and segments and things like that. But it ain't easy, gang.
We've got we have amassed a really incredible team behind us. So yes. That has been a big windfall for us. Also, Wolf said I posted a clip of the childhood diary segment in the Discord.
Okay.
Justin. Wolf, have we met? I don't go into the Discord, buddy. All right.
Oh yeah, that was the one. That was the episode where Will finally submitted his song, and Chad won the contest. So Will's punishment was he had to dress up, do cosplay as the Crow. And he came to play. He went all out for it. So that's very, very fun.
Very good.
Yes. So very, very good. What's not very good?
What's that, Doug?
Is the teaser trailer I saw for the new Avatar movie. That's right. Did you all know that Avatar, not to be confused with Avatar The Last Airbender, or Avatar Legend of Korra, or Avatar the role-playing game that's available now. But Avatar, James Cameron's blue Avatar with unobtainium and all that sort of shit.
James Cameron did blow Avatar.
He did. There's that movie came out in, 2008, I believe?
Ish,
2008, 2009. Massive success. Box office smash. 2009. It broke. It held the number one spot on box office, clearing $2 billion at the box office during its run.
It currently sits at $2.8 billion. It's just shy of 3.
Right, because I remember I think it was Star Wars crossed one of the Star Wars movies. I think something came really close, but I was like, God, it just crossed 2 billion. There's no way it's going to get 2.8. I think Avengers Endgame was the one that knocked it off the top, if I'm not mistaken.
It was Endgame that knocked it off the top, but it's dropped, man. Lifetime. Well, see, this doesn't make. Oh, this is domestic. Hold on.
Oh,
worldwide.
okay.
Here we go. Yep. So yeah, domestic and worldwide are two vastly different. Domestic, we've got Star Wars Episode 7, 5, 6, 7. 7. Endgame, Spider-Man, No Way Home, and then Avatar.
Mm-hmm.
If we go worldwide, Mr. Worldwide, then we've got Avatar at the top, and a hair behind it is Endgame.
Oh, really? I thought Endgame beat it worldwide, but I guess not.
Well, it did, but then remember...
Oh, they re-released it,
didn't it? Because Cameron was like, I want the top spot.
Fucking douchebags.
Yeah, that was a bitch.
Well, you look at those two movies and tell me which one has had a larger cultural impact. So suck a dick.
Well, also domestically,
Endgame
is almost $10 billion,
Give him a moment, everybody.
No, I wanted to make sure I was doing that. Hold on. Where's worldwide? Hold on.
I want to cut this because we can't see what you're looking at and just have like all of the figures and math going across your face as you're like, it's 10. Wait. Math.
Hard 100 million. I apologize. Domestically, almost $100 million more. And so that's nothing to turn your nose up to. You know what I mean?
Well, that movie to me, I've talked about it before. That movie is so forgettable.
Yeah.
The story is insultingly bad. Visually, very impressive. Like what they were able to do with it was very good. We talked about this kind of in our production meeting. I don't remember exactly what happened at the time, but I know like film wise, James Cameron sort of created a new way to film with this. Like he created new standards and things like that. Right. So that was great, but it is a painfully bad story that if you've seen Last Samurai, Dances with Wolves, Last of the Mohicans, Ferngully, any of those kinds of movies, then you've seen this movie. You have outsider, infiltrates native culture, falls in love with culture, betrays, their own culture, fights for the native culture, and they win. Like that's just it's really obnoxious, and I was absolutely enraged that movie was up for best screenplay. I'm like,
nominated
what?
For 9 fucking Academy Awards.
Yeah. It was gross. His best picture, I was like, get that the fuck out of here. Yeah. It does not need to be for best picture. Because it was also Dark Knight was in the Oscars that year. I'm like, that Dark Knight deserves way more than Avatar. So I don't understand the cultural zeitgeist around that movie. I think it's incredibly forgettable.
Very much so.
And I think that not only that, so 2009, right? Okay. Yeah. It is 2022. So here we are 13 years later, and they're like, guess what? Here's a sequel that
you've been clamoring for.
I was like, I get really frustrated when these movies have such huge gaps in between sequels because like things like Sin City did that. Sin City was an awesome film, unique, everything about it, and then like years later they're like, here's a sequel to it. I'm like, does anybody care about this anymore? And I know it takes a long time to make movies, gang. I get that, right? This is not something that you get done immediately, but if something is that wildly successful, usually it gets put on what's called the fast track, or now renamed the lightning lane, and you get in there. If you pay extra, you can get in the lightning lane, and it goes by real quick, and they're like, we got to get this, because for something that grossed $2.8 billion, you would think that people were like, God damn, we've got to do something else with this. And I know they started production, right? In 2017, things got delayed. The pandemic had some stuff to do with that. But there's also, I think they're slated to do 4 sequels.
There's 4 sequels. 2 and 3 have been greenlit. And actually, based off of the article I read, was like their production obviously production is wrapped on the second. I think production is, if not wrapped, very close to wrapped on 3. And then Cameron said, if these do well, there'll be a 4 and 5. But I feel like, earlier articles had said that the money had already been allocated. Wasn't he doing like $2.5 billion and they were splitting it? I thought it was something ridiculous. They had allocated money for all the sequels already.
I don't know, but the teaser came out. Yeah. I give them kudos for it's a good teaser in the fact that it doesn't show you much. It gets you, it whets your appetite,
Right. Well, I'll say this though too. We talked about this. I did put the time in, and I waited in line at Disney and Animal Kingdom to go on that ride. And I am fairly certain that more than one scene in this trailer is directly from that ride. Like they just lifted the footage out of that ride and put it in the trailer.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks, animation wise, it kind of looks like that too. I don't know, man. We're going underwater for this one. What's the name of it again?
Okay, that's the other thing too, is the name of this is incredibly stupid to me. It's called Avatar: The Way of Water.
It feels like it's purposely trying to mislead people into Avatar: The Last Airbender territory.
Yeah. It's so weird. It's such a weird title. I would settle for Avatar 2, which typically I don't like that, where it's like, it's 2. But this is such an odd... Because also, I saw the movie one time when it came out in theaters all those years ago. So I don't know if that has a greater meaning within that universe. And it's like, oh, you remember when you watched that movie and there's something with the water and that stuff? And I don't know. It's just... It has Fast and the Furious vibes.
Dave Matthews Band tour bus goes through I don't even know what's their city they live in. Their world, Pangea. What is it?
Yeah, Pangea.
Sure, whatever. Is driving through and it just dumps the toilet receptacle all into their water supply, and that's what this movie's really about.
Yeah. I get Fast and Furious vibes from this because I feel the same way about it, in which, at least with Fast and Furious, like, I get why people like it.
I was gonna say, yeah, there is a for sure a clear audience for Fast and Furious.
I totally get why people like it. It makes perfect sense to me. It's fun. It's silly. It's action. To me, it harkens back to the 90s action movies. I get it. I totally get it. I look at this. I was like, I don't understand why anybody liked it. I mean, I remember there was such a strong audience reaction. I remember reading an article at one point where people were depressed because after watching that, because they wished so much that they could be on that homeworld of Pangea. Like, it was such an escape for them. I remember people going to the movie theater. They were like painting their skin blue. Like, I just didn't understand.
I mean, look, if it made, $2.8 billion worldwide lifetime gross, like, it is kind of hard. As much as we shit on the movie, it's hard to argue with those numbers.
100%.
Like, there obviously was fans for an audience for it, but like we've also said, and as other people have mentioned too, it is the highest grossing, most forgettable movie of all time. Name one other movie that is as like, if you do a poll, just a straw poll, walk out and ask 10 people, I'll bet you that over half of them are like, eh.
I'm not. If people enjoyed it, great. Whatever, like what you like. No hard feelings. But I just don't understand the movie. I don't understand the love that it got. I don't understand. I like James Cameron. I think he's, he makes good stuff. It's enjoyable to watch. I mean, Terminator 1, Terminator 2, Aliens, like, those are some of my favorite movies. I have never seen Titanic, but I get it. Like, he does very interesting, fun stuff. Like, totally understand. But when I watch that movie, I'm just like, I don't get it, man. I don't understand why people have a gigantic boner for this film. It doesn't ring to me. And to watch this trailer, I just was like, ugh.
When you said the Fast and the Furious vibes, I did, and then Slotty just said Avatar 2, when you're here, your family. And I forgot that they actually do have a line about family in there.
Yes.
I was like, oh wait, are they directly pulling from Fast and the Furious?
I'm trying to find the line for it. I can't remember what it is.
I feel like it's almost it's what Slotty said, when you're here, your family. I feel like they were like, we need to rip off Fast and the Furious, but we need to make it sound more like Olive Garden. So
wherever we go, this family is our fortress.
There it is.
Gross.
Yeah.
That is so gross.
All right, Dom.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Ugh.
To your point, though, like I said, like, I respect the Fast and the Furious franchise because it knows what it is.
Yeah.
Like, it's just ridiculous fun. It's a popcorn movie. It has become a parody of itself in that it knows that it's trying to top itself on each stunt that it does, and it's pure entertainment. Whereas I do feel like Avatar, I don't know. I feel
it
like
has sniffing its own farts vibes.
Yeah.
It has sniffing its own farts vibes. It's like, look at this masterpiece, unobtainium. You know what that is? You know what that's a metaphor for? It's imperialism. It's like, yeah, we all got it, because there's absolutely no subtlety to this film whatsoever. It's like everyone is bad, and there's the bad guy who wears the hat that says, I'm the bad guy. Military bad guy. And it's like, hey, we're the good people because we're blue. And we're going to fight. And somehow, even though we don't have any sort of technology whatsoever, we have spears. We're basically Ewoks. We somehow can fight these heavily armored military creatures. Again, I don't remember what sort of kill code or whatever they fucking put into that to make it so that they can win. I seem to remember being like, wait, how do they beat him? But what do I know? Regardless, this movie's coming out in December. I mean,
get on it.
I have no intention of seeing it. I mean, I don't want to wish ill will upon it or anything like that. I mean, whatever. I would be shocked if it was super successful, but then again, it did have a pretty rabid fan base when the first one came out, so who knows? I don't know.
Yeah. I almost want to throw a challenge down to us to actually see it and review it when it does come out.
Well, that's going to be a real...
But do we want to spend the money on it? That's the question.
More importantly, do we want to spend the time on it?
If Dudesy was here, what would Dudesy say?
Dudesy would require us to go and watch it.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
There's someone else, though, that I tend to listen to more so than the likes of Dudesy.
Who's that?
You got the questions, we got the answers. All you do is ask. Practical, 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 practical. Ask Practical Doug.
Wow. What? It's that time. Practical Doug has entered the arena. You've never been here for this before. Practical Doug is a small entity that lives inside the large entity known as just Doug. Practical Doug guides Doug on all of his day-to-day adventures. And if you want to ask Practical Doug a question and get doled out some very practical advice, you can either ask live on Tuesdays when we stream at 8 p.m. Central on YouTube. You can join the Discord. You can ask on social medias. However you can get in touch with Doug. Hashtag Ask Practical Doug. And today's Practical Doug, do you want to guess who it's from?
It's got to be Slotty or Jared.
It's Slotty, who's got a monopoly on these questions right now. Slotty asks, Practical Doug, if you find a perfect gift for your family member or close friends, do you buy it no matter what time of the year it is?
So I think the conceit of this question is, do you save it for like a birthday or a Christmas, or do you just buy it and give it immediately?
So my thought was, if you find it, let's say you see something in July and you're like, this would make a great Christmas present for Justin. Would you buy it in July? Like if it's months away from when you would be giving it, because that's how I'm reading it. Not would you buy it and just give it then?
Gotcha.
Would you buy? I'm watching the chat.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. It's would you buy it and then hold on to it? That's my okay. I think Slotty is saying yes. That's
exactly
or
what you just said.
To Noah's thing.
Yes.
I don't know. Let's go with that. Because otherwise, sorry, just to qualify this a little bit. Otherwise, it's just a gift. Like it's not for a. Remember, do you buy it no matter what time of year? I don't know. I don't think it matters. I think we're splitting hairs and it doesn't matter.
I think.
Do you wait for a holiday or do you just buy the damn thing?
Personally, I don't really think about gifts until I'm required to. There's a stress and anxiety for me to try and seek out a gift for someone else. And that pressure is pretty brutal. I try to aim pretty low with things. I like to find something that has meaning. I don't necessarily aim for something that's super expensive because I often feel that sometimes the stuff that's super expensive is not really worth its value, if that makes sense. Or it's valuable because it's expensive.
Yeah.
So, like, for example, Jill's birthday was this weekend. She and I give each other extremely simple gifts. We do not do anything extravagant. But Jill loves books. So I found her this bizarre gift, in my opinion. It looks like a hat from Harry Potter. It's a little pyramid that for some reason has like a graduation tassel on it. But it's a little pyramid that has like sort of like some seams and some tufts of cushion at the bottom. So you can set this big pyramid on your lap, put your book in it, and it elevates it up so you can look at it and also sort of like hold your book in place. So, and the little tassel you put in the middle so it holds your place in the book as well.
So it's not a hat then?
It's not a hat. Looks like it could be a hat.
Could
but
you
it's
wear
not.
it?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I was like, this is a fun thing for her because she reads books. And I think this could be useful for her, and that'll be good. And then she also was like, I'd like new earbuds. I'm like, got it. Done. That was just straight up. That's a pretty easy one. Or, what do you want for your birthday for something? I'll cook you something nice. Tell me what you want, and I'll make that. And that makes sense. So gift giving, I definitely enjoy giving people gifts. But I get stressed out because I want to find the right gift for somebody. I want it to be meaningful. If it's also humorous, that's a bonus. So that being said, if I find something that is the perfect gift, say for like you or Jill, and it's available, and I know how stressed out I get trying to find the perfect gift, I'll buy it, and I can definitely stash it somewhere. But most likely what will happen is I'll buy it and then I'll just give it to him because I can't wait. And I also can't keep secrets when it comes to that stuff because I just want to enjoy it so fast.
Yeah.
We are the worst at Christmas time. We order something, it comes in the mail, and I'm like, do you want this now? Because I got it for you. And we both go
in the Amazon box.
Yeah, we both go, okay. And we just give it to each other. And we enjoy that. It's fun because I'm like, why? I don't see the point in going to wrapping all this. Like, I just want to give this to you now. And they're like, okay. Because then she's like, well, what if you don't have anything under the tree in Christmas? I'm like, fuck Christmas. I don't care.
We can just take all the things I got you and shove them under the tree.
Yeah, I was like, I don't necessarily need anything. Like, I'm relatively easy to shop for because I don't need much. The smallest things will make me happy.
Yeah.
Get me something nerdy and fun, and I'm happy. I don't give a shit because my expectations of anyone getting me anything are so low.
Yeah.
That I don't know. It's the same thing on my birthday. If someone just reaches out and says happy birthday, I'm like, oh, that was really nice. You didn't have to do that. Yeah. Like, thank you. Like, I'm so easy to please for the holidays.
I'm around the same. I get stressed out trying to find, especially for like my mom or my dad or stepmom, stepdad. Like I never know because I'm just like, I don't want to get, like I think one year we got a couple of years back, we got my mom a robe, and then that same year SNL came out with the parody of getting your mom, how shitty it is to get your mom a robe. And I was like, oh, this cuts a little too deep. This is way too close to home. We gave her the bad gift. And I couldn't figure it out though. But throughout the year, I'll be like, oh, that would be a cool gift to get her. And so I have it's very similar to what we talk about at the time. I'll have the thought. I won't write it down. I won't act on the thought. And I'm like, I'll remember this. And then I don't. And then I stress about it. So yeah, I think if you find it, absolutely buy it and stash it.
Buy it and bank it.
Buy it and bank it because you're in the moment. Do it.
Yeah. Set your future self up for success.
Yes.
So when that day comes and everyone's like, oh, you're like, what am I going to get them? Oh, that's right. Thanks, Past Doug. You already took care of this. And you give each other fist bumps through the time and space continuum.
That's it.
Yep.
That's how it works.
That's it.
I had, for the records, that happened on this podcast. When we had our production meeting last night, I was like, oh, I need to bring this up tomorrow. I won't write it down because when we talk about whatever this one thing is, it'll prompt me to remember to bring this up. I don't even remember what the prompt was.
I don't know how many times I have to tell you this. Write it down, Justin. It makes me sad. You've said this to me so many times, and it breaks my goddamn heart, and I want to know what you're thinking. So write it down. Write it down.
All right. I'm going to go on record right now.
You all heard it.
From henceforth, I will write these things down, and you should never again hear me say, oh, I had a thing to say, and I forgot what that thing was. And then if you hear me bring that up again, what should the punishment be?
Punishment should be that you have to hop onto Discord and you have to engage with our audience for at least 30 minutes. You have to do an AMA for 30 minutes.
Like for a period of like every day for a month, or
no? You have to come in and do a 30-minute Ask Me Anything, and the Discord will absolutely be able to. We'll set up an event. This isn't some Patreon shit. This is just its punishment. He has to get on Discord and engage with everybody. That's what he has to do.
That being said, that would be a cool Discord perk.
Yes.
Or a Discord Patreon perk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. You get to do an AMA with Justin
first, and then we can turn it into a.
We'll see how it goes. It'll be like our test thing. So when Justin fucks up, he gets punished by it. So, yeah.
Welcome to the Throwdown.
I love it. Noah goes, I'll believe it when I see it.
Right. Well, let's hope that you don't see it, because that means that I'm not losing then.
That means he's doing his job.
Doing my job.
He's doing his goddamn job.
I will make it a point in meetings to make sure you're writing your ideas down. Wolf, do you not want me to do the AMA? I feel like you would want me to not write my ideas down.
Oh, I love this.
Isn't that
Wolf
Right.
posted something in Discord that's it's from a YouTube video. It says, "Can anyone name a single character from the movie Avatar?" And apparently, they're interviewing people to see if they can remember the name of someone, because I couldn't name one thing. I can tell you, I know the blue aliens are called Navi, I believe, and that, like you said, the world's called Pangea, and there's unobtainium. Right. That's all I know.
Is it Navi or Navi?
You know what, Justin? I don't care.
And I'm asking
for a friend.
I'm asking for a friend. I don't care.
I just don't care. Jake.
Right.
Actually, I think you're right. I think that's the name of the main character is Jake. Pandora, not Pangea. Damn it.
Oh, wait. That was the wrong one. Who we got this week, Doug?
Oh, God. This week's throwdown is Kratos versus Gore the God Butcher.
Yes.
Are you familiar with either of these, Justin?
Like the jewelry. Am I familiar with any of these? I am familiar with the God of War only because he's got the video game, right?
Yes.
Isn't he in the video game? Yes. I'm familiar with him via that video game. And then Gore the God Butcher, I am only familiar with because everyone's talking about him now.
That's right.
Because he wasn't in the trailer.
Yes. For Thor, Love, and Thunder from Down Under. Justin, why don't you take Kratos and I will do Gore the God Butcher?
That sounds lovely. So, Keto is, let's see. Let me get
Keto?
down to the, yep. Kratos. There it is. I don't see a tier for this guy. This is really throwing me off. Hold on. Is he like 9A? I need to know.
Oh,
anyway.
It doesn't even have him tiered out. It just has his abilities. Interesting.
It just says, yeah. Okay. I'm actually going to use the little cheat sheet on the side here because I find these a little bit better.
Yeah.
It's a what is he got? He's a demigod warrior, formerly. What is he currently? These are all formerly. Is he alive? Spartan general, servant of Ares, servant of Olympus, second god of war after the demigod of war. All right, powers and skills. He's got incredible strength. He's got a vast amount of weaponry and magic, high endurance, weapons proficiency, combat skills, superhuman speed, divine powers, elemental abilities. He's got photokinesis, the ability to create and control black holes, spirit control. Oh my God, he's got everything. Like this list, literally, he's got zoopathy, force fields. He's got can survive without oxygen. It was on a different line. I thought he's got oxygen.
He can breathe.
He can breathe. He's got essokinesis. He's got dimensiokinesis. Jesus fucking Christ, this guy's all right. So
he's got immortality. That's good.
Everything, yeah. Mind control. He has a resurrection, shape shifting, flight. His hobbies are brutally killing his enemies, sleeping with women, formerly abandoned after falling for Atreus.
Fathering.
I don't read. What's his goals? He wants to be rid of his memories of his family's brutal murders. Oh boy, he's got a lot of goals too. This just goes on and on. My goodness.
There's been a lot of God of War games, so
the actual powers and abilities, it goes into all of them. We know what these are. This guy is fucking roided out, and he is very DC'd.
Yes,
he's very skeleton king.
Well, I mean, when your father's Zeus, like that's it's a big deal.
I'm just saying.
Yeah,
my father's Zeus.
He's a vengeful warrior.
What do we got? Gore the God Butcher.
Gore the God Butcher.
It's a lovely matchup here.
So Gore, by himself, is powerless, but he fights using the former symbiote of Null, All Black. With All Black attached to him, the Clintar takes on the form of the Necrosword and grants Gore dark power proportional to the number of deities he slaughters. That was a lot of fun to read.
I'm very glad you took that one.
In the past, Gore was barely more powerful than young Thor, but after killing countless more gods, he becomes so powerful that not even 3 Thors, including a nigh omnipotent Allfather, can defeat him, who's able to slaughter entire pantheons effortlessly and single-handedly, including Falagar the Behemoth, a patron god of the galactic frontier said to wrestle black holes for fun. So, this main ability of the Necrosword, it creates constructs out of dark energy. Gore could replace his own limbs and create weapons, tendrils, projectiles out of darkness in combat. At one point, the Necrosword was able to permeate an entire star with its power, turning said star black. Gore could also use it for more complex purposes like creating non-sentient black berserkers who were entirely servile to his will. Each of those had enough power to lock Avenger Thor into a stalemate and had hundreds of thousands of them under his control. He also made a giant black serpent that kept even Allfather Thor occupied for a time. Beyond that, Gore was able to create fully sentient imitations of his wife and son using his power. So, this thing that he has, this Necrosword, is obviously entirely dependent on how many deities he has slain. So, if he's...
Now, does it reset?
As far as I know, it doesn't reset. So it's just a cumulative process. Okay. So, because I remember reading this in the comics when, he basically had this stuff and he was absolutely just rampaging across the pantheons, just brutally murdering people. And Thor had an extremely hard time fighting him because of this. And it involves, in order to defeat him, he had to do time travel shit to stop him. But, so if Gore meets Kratos at a very murderous point, like say at the point where he's fighting Thor, I think Kratos has a really hard time fighting him because
Kratos can create black holes, it said, right?
Kratos?
Doesn't he have the ability... Hold on. Ability to create and control black holes, but Gore, you said... he can manipulate black holes, right?
He can create things that are basically... he's killed something that wrestled black holes for fun.
Oh, he killed something that wrestled him for fun. Cool.
Yeah.
So if Kratos can create them and Gore was able to kill someone that wrestled them for fun, I feel like, again, if we're looking at apples to apples, that's a tough one.
Yeah, and not to mention that Gore can also summon very powerful creatures that locked Thor into a stalemate. So if Thor is a demigod, a powerful one, and Kratos is a demigod, also a very powerful one, and Thor struggle with that, I would also argue that Kratos will also struggle with a fully realized Gore as well.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So,
absolutely. Did we have weaknesses for Gore? I'm not seeing weaknesses in here.
I'd say his weakness is just his natural form without the symbiote.
So then can it be separated from him?
It does get separated from him at some point.
Okay.
To the point where, in order to save Midgard, Thor actually uses the symbiote to fight off Galactus. And in the process, the symbiote transfers to Galactus.
That's not good.
Dun. Wow, Slotty has a whole thing that's going on here. So it's in a supermarket parking lot. Kratos is backing out of his parking spot and bumps on Gore's Toyota Tercel. Kratos does not want to exchange insurance info because he doesn't want his premiums to go up.
This is when adults write fan fiction, comic fan fiction.
Yes. And Jared goes, has he killed Jesus yet? He needs that water and the wine power.
I'm just saying that the Gore seems to, as OP as Kratos is, I think Gore, he's just, if it's a fully realized Gore, then it's lights out for.
I say Kratos just essentially, he gets annihilated like any other god at that point. I don't think he stands a chance. Gore will.
He's not even he's a demigod.
Yeah. So
you know what I mean? So he's got even less, or maybe because he's a demigod, Gore doesn't know what to do with that, and so then Kratos wins.
No, I mean, considering that Gore beat Thor, then I'd say no.
Gore beat Thor.
Gore
Kratos
beat
loses.
Thor.
Yeah.
That was good. And looking forward to Thor: Love and Thunder because I want to see Christian Bale as Gore. I think that'll be really interesting.
Yeah,
so
that's going to be very interesting.
Cha-cha-cha-cha. This was fun. Justin, what do you got to recommend this week?
Well, I am going to recommend Everything Everywhere All at Once. We went and saw that movie on Friday, and it was, dude, this movie was the definition of insanity and the most beautiful version of it. It was, I can't even begin to describe. From a filmmaker's perspective, I sat there and I watched it and I went, my stomach is in knots trying to figure out how you lay a movie like this out. Like, how do you storyboard this? How do you go into a pitch meeting with this? This movie is so bonkers. And at times you're like, this is weird. And then immediately when you start thinking that, you're like, nope, it's fucking amazing.
Yeah.
It sends you on this weird roller coaster. It's incredible. I would strongly recommend going to see this. It's got the themes in it are just numerous. And if you want to see where the Daniels got their kind of mainstream success, look up the music video Turn Down for What.
Okay.
That was one of their first mainstream successes as far as directing goes. And that gives you a taste of where they were headed. And then go watch this movie and you're welcome.
I saw the trailer for it and I was instantly intrigued. I'm like, I want to see it. So as if I needed any more reason to see it.
Yeah.
I'll
be curious. I could easily see someone being critical of this movie, but thus far, I mean, let me just Everything Everywhere. What are we at on Rotten Tomatoes here? We are currently at 96 on Rotten Tomatoes.
Wow.
So I'll be very curious to get your take on it if and when you see it.
Yeah, I'd love to see it. I'm sure some of the great takes would be like, this is all Asian people. I don't find it relatable.
That's sure. Right.
I'm sure that'll be someone's,
as we've heard,
someone's response to it. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. What do you got, Dougie?
I watched The King on Netflix this past weekend. It stars Timothée Chalamet and Robert Pattinson, and there's a small part from I knew I was going to forget his name. We'll just Joel Edgerton is in it.
Okay.
It's essentially about Henry V. Which it's funny because as I was watching it, I was like, oh, I remember, this Shakespeare play. Cool. I kind of know what's going to happen in this one point, which was really cool. But it follows Henry IV in England, which is, I also thought this was funny for casting because Timothée Chalamet, French, playing an English king. Robert Pattinson, English, playing a French prince. Very, very funny to me.
Yeah, that is actually pretty funny.
I was like, hey, listen, that's acting, right? Like, they don't have to be like, hey, you're French, you're going to play the French guy. But I was like, hey, whatever, it's cool. I really, really like Timothée Chalamet. I think he's a really great actor.
I agree.
And I thoroughly enjoy just watching him in general.
Yeah.
But basically tells the story of Henry V, a guy that didn't want to be king, that was sort of like given, handed this kingdom that was fractured, divided, in crisis, trying to find his way, trying to figure out who he can trust, ends up invading France and everything that happens along the way. I think it's a really good movie. It's on Netflix. Is it amazing? Drop your pants, go sit in front of the TV and watch it? No. But I really liked it. I thought it was really well acted. It was very enjoyable. So I think you should check it out. It's on Netflix if you got it. So there you go. And I think if everyone's talking about whether or not Noah's trying to provide advice as to whether or not you should go to the theater to see Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, I'm going to try and see it this coming weekend. That's my goal. So
I am too. The consensus does seem that we should wait for Disney Plus release, but
I don't want any spoilers, so I want to go see it. So
absolutely,
yeah, I'll go see it, and it should be fun. And Natalie keeps asking me when the next fucking Jurassic Park movie comes out. She's like, when does it come out? I'm like, June. She's like, it's so far away. I'm like, apparently we're going to go to the theater to see that one. So
fun.
Which, you know what? I haven't seen a movie with Natalie in the theaters in years, so that would be a real treat, honestly. And for her to go and see, I have to remind her, I'm like, listen, this isn't sitting in her house watching the movie. You got to shut the fuck up, all right?
Did she? I'm assuming that's one of the things that she talks through the whole movie.
The thing that Natalie will do all the time is ask questions that I'm like, if you just wait, that question will probably be answered. And I'm starting to tell her, I go, listen, if you have a question, keep that question in your head. If that question's not answered by the end of the movie, then ask and we'll talk about it. But if you're like, she's like, what's that guy doing? I'm like, just watch, find out. And she's also always trying to find the familial relationships with people. She'll see someone and be like, so is that their dad? I'm like, no, not at all. It's not their dad. Is that their sister? No. They're just two people. Like, she's just always she just assumes everyone's got some sort of connection.
They exist in the world together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, anyway, good recommendations. Check all those out. And please check us out on all our social medias at MindGap Podcast. Wherever you're listening to this, check us out there. Like and subscribe, review us, rate us, all that good stuff. Check us out on YouTube, youtube.com/MindGapPodcast. Subscribe and like. It costs you literally nothing, and it helps us get on our way to being monetized. So please do that. We appreciate you. Check us out live Tuesdays, 8 p.m. Central for the podcast. Saturdays, 8 p.m. Central, where I host a video game stream. Always happy to hang out with you as we play games, sometimes as a party or sometimes as I go solo. It's good stuff. Yeah, check us out on all that stuff. Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, and all that good stuff. And please remember to check out Justin online as well.
On Instagram and Twitter at Justin_Michael, spelled Mikel. It's the fun way of spelling it while you're in the online realm. Go ahead and check us out on the Apple Podcast, Stitcher, Google Podcast, all the places where you can find and consume quality podcasts. You will find us there, and you can consume us there. And rate us, review us, all the normal stuff. It goes a long way, and we like it. And then keep an eye on all of 2 East 8th's social medias and 2east8th.com.
Nice. Thank you all for hanging out with us. This is great. Super excited.
It's a lively chat tonight. This
lively.
is wonderful.
Lively chat.
I've missed I don't think we've had as lively a chat in a while, and this is a treat tonight.
So
thank you.
If you're listening and you want to see what we, catch us live, please do join the chat. It's always fun to read people's responses because, and I say this with all sincerity, there's some really fucking funny people in our community, and I thank you for your humor. So keep being awesome. But with that being said, I want to say, Justin, thank you.
Douglas, thank you.
Chat, thank you.
Listeners, thank you.
And you all have a dandy fucking week. Awesome. Anthony Hobbs, you beautiful fucker. How are you, buddy? So good to see you. Anthony is a good friend of mine. We went to college together, and he lives out on the West Coast. And I miss you. I miss your face, pal. Hope you and the family are doing well, man. What does NC stand for? No children? Probably no children under 17. NC 17. I know Doug couldn't come out and say it, but thank you for naming me the funniest member of the community. Seriously, you all are fucking hilarious, man. I just... No, hold on. Who made the Dave Matthews joke on the stream all those months ago? It was Noah, all right? During Quiplash. You know? It's good stuff, man. It's good stuff. I was running a book club tonight. Oh, yeah? What book were you reading? The Bible? How's it end? Don't spoil it. I take it back. Don't spoil it.
Oh, that ending was a revelation.
Oh, shit. My nipples got hard. They just got hard. Yeah, but who has more sound bites? Well, that's true. Jared has quite a few sound bites.
That is very true. Not the one I meant to hit. Not the one I meant to
Check
hit.
out this one. Wait, that's not his fart.
That was Jared. And
fuck me, slutty. I put my dick in worse.
there it is.
I'm showing some signs of being fucking wet.
That one's still one of my favorites from Noah. Just him role-playing as a guy that loves water, you know? The fart is Zinnies. That's also
That's
true.
true. Sorry, that was. These are all Zinnies farts.
Yeah, they were
Yeah.
very, very good. Yeah. Well, thanks for taking the time out of your book club to stop by, Tony. It's always good to hear from you, man. I miss you, brother. And the Hydrologist, that's right. Which, by the way, in a couple of weeks, we're going to be doing Spyfall again. So hopefully we can get really into character again and see what shenanigans happens. It's a book about haunted places in the U.S., Ghostland. It's the sequel to Ghost Dad.
Oh, no.
I'm so happy you're reading, buddy. Good for you. That sounded so condescending.
There's no good way to say that.
I'm glad you're reading.
Oh, I'm glad you're reading, buddy.
Is
Good
Among
for
Us
you.
this weekend? No, I'm not doing any sort of deception games without you, Noah. I won't do it. I'm sorry, but you're kind of a prerequisite for that. But I feel like we could do Spyfall. I actually might do Final Fantasy VI again this weekend, just to I'm having fun playing that, and I'd like to play it some more and just sort of give us a little bit of breathing room. And then following weekend we do Spyfall, and then maybe after that we do Among Us. So, all right, I'm busy with this week. Yeah, you got a concert, bro. Prequel to Ghost Planet. This is my ghost land. This is your ghost land. We are all dead here. We haunt these buttholes. Is that how it goes?
I will haunt your butt.
Also, God damn it. I went back and watched some of those old clips.
Yeah.
That was from Among Us, I think. No, it was from the bomb defusal one.
Yes.
Keep talking, nobody
Yes.
explodes. Which was so much fun.
Absolutely.
Sam got really dramatic in that, and that made me very,
Yes,
very
it
happy.
did.
It was so good. Oh. They've got lightsabers on Fortnite. I know you loved. Why? How much did it cost for them to license the lightsabers? I feel like Epic Games just bleeds money on just licensing stuff, man. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Nobody talking, we explode. I love that because people in the chat were helping us out too, which was so good. Like, I think Itoy was hopping in. He was like giving us advice. I was trying to play the puzzles.
I only got to play that once or twice with you guys. I would love to play that one again.
That would be fun. That would be really, really good.
I enjoyed the few times I got to play that one.
Yeah, we haven't played that in a really long time. That would be fun to dig that out again. So,
Yes, sir.
well, anyway, thank you all for hanging out with us. You're the goddamn best. We appreciate you. Thank you for showing up. It means a lot to us, and it helps. It helps us so much. Even if you're just there lurking, it still means the world to us because it helps us with our watch time. So thank you. We love you very much. You all take care. Enjoy the rest of your week. Hope to see you Saturday, and we'll see you next time, gang. Adios.